早上好，今天是3天的我的 vegan challenge。现在我是非常饿，不知道为什么。I think I'm running into one of the first problems with the vegan diet. When you eat a lot of carbohydrates, they burn really fast in your system, so you get hungry again quicker. So when I'm eating my food, I'm eating until I'm totally full. 我真的吃饱了，但是1个小时、2个小时、3个小时，然后我是 hungry again. But I'm really hungry right now, so let's get up, go downstairs, and make some food. 他想去在游泳池。
我要去见我的朋友，但是他太美丽，所以很多男人想她，所以我必须去protect you。怎么说 protect you？ 我要去跟我的女朋友见面，不要去干扰。
加油！加油！加油！ 喜欢我的背包，好可爱，对吧 ？Zoe， 你开太快了。Hello， 你好。我觉得他应该去边边，来边边，走。Okay, Travels, go， 走。没有人。 很多人，哇！现在生活很艰难，哇 ！Family photo。所以我必须回家洗澡，因为我去在我的朋友们玩游戏，但是Zoe想留在这个酒吧，所以我说拜拜，我回家。啊，看一看这个车，非常酷，我喜欢。 我以前有一个 Jeep。你们好，这是未来的柯柯瑞安。我想告诉你，这张照片背后的故事。不好意思，这个故事是太长也太难，所以我想用英文，也Zoe可以翻译。So this was my first car. My high school was a 45-minute drive from my house. Dallas basically doesn't have transportation. So as soon as I got my driver's license at 16, my parents bought me this 10-year-old Jeep. I was so happy. I thought maybe now that I have such a cool Jeep, I can get a girlfriend. Fortunately, it didn't help much. But the other great thing about it was that it had 4-wheel drive. Dallas is flat, not near a beach or any mountains. So as a kid, I was into a bunch of redneck activities for fun. Hunting, fishing, and once I got this Jeep, I added off-road to that list. Anyhow, as you guys can see on this map, I used to row right next to this big piece of undeveloped land right in the middle of Dallas. It was private property, but because it was in a floodplain, no one ever developed the land and no one ever managed it. It was kind of a wild and dangerous place. There were burned out cars, graffiti, abandoned drug needles, and police have even found dead bodies in there. But there were also a bunch of trails that people had made, and us teenagers would go out and ride our motorcycles and trucks on those. It was so much fun. So one Sunday after a huge rain the night before, I called up one of my buddies and we went out there. I wasn't going out there unprepared. We had a tow cable with a crank, so I figured if I got stuck in some mud, I'd be able to pull myself out. This wasn't my first rodeo. We started out at around 11 a.m. on a Sunday. We were driving around, exploring, having a wonderful time, and then all of a sudden we came to the bottom part of a highway bridge that we had to go under. Look at this news report about a dead person that they found in the Trinity River. The spot that they are filming is very similar to where we were. It might have been the exact same place. See this picture? Right before we got to the underpass of the bridge, there was water. It was connected to the main river, but I thought it was just some rain overflow from the night before. I didn't think it was an actual part of the river, and I didn't think it was deep at all. I should have got out, and I should have gone and checked it with a stick to see how deep it was, but it was only about 5 meters across, and I thought if I drove really fast, I could just get across it with no problems at all. So I gunned it. I hit the gas, drove super fast, hit the water, stuck. Totally stuck in about a meter of mud. So I got out of my car, looked around, and the nearest tree was over 30 meters away. So there wasn't even something I could latch my crank to. Problem number 1. At this point, I wasn't happy, but I also wasn't in panic mode. I'd been stuck before, and this was all just part of the off-roading experience as far as I was concerned. So I called up another buddy who had a big Ford F-150 truck, but this truck was only two-wheel drive, it wasn't four-wheel drive. It took him about an hour to get to the trail, but once he got to the trail, he only made it about 100 meters before he also got stuck. Not stuck as bad as I was stuck, but it was clear he was not going to be able to make it to where I was at and help pull me out. We went and cranked his truck out and then asked him to help us go and buy some cables. Tied them all together, hooked it up to the tree, hooked it up to the back of my vehicle. We cranked it as far as we possibly could. We just couldn't get it to crank anymore. The Jeep was not going to budge. Finally, I was like, okay, hands up, I need professional help. So I called up a tow company and told them where I was at. And he said because we were trespassing and not legally allowed to be there, he could not come and help me. We called 5 other tow companies and they all told us the same thing. But even worse than this, one of the tow companies told me, even if they were legally allowed to come and help me, it would be unsafe for them to do so because there's a lake up in Irving, which was the city that's upstream, and if they opened up the dams on that lake, all of a sudden all the water is going to come down to where I was at, and I was in a floodplain. The guy said that within 10 minutes where I was standing would be filled with water. He said it's very unsafe where you're at. You need to get out. And at that time in Irving and even farther upstream, there was huge rainstorms that were pouring down rain that was all getting funneled into this river. All of a sudden, it went from an annoying situation to pure panic mode. Got on the phone and called my dad. I did not want to call my dad about this. I knew he was going to be super angry at me, but I had to. My very unhappy father immediately left to come. He also called up my uncle, who had an ATV, to come help as well. Fast forward to 5 p.m., the Jeep had sunk even deeper. All of us are in the mud trying to get this thing out. The sun was getting ready to set, and my mom had just called and said that she actually called the city of Irving, and they said they're probably going to open up the floodgates in 3 hours. We were in full-on panic mode, and I thought I truly might lose my Jeep. Then, out of nowhere, we hear this voice up on the bridge. Hey, y'all need some help? It was a 40-something, beer-belly, super country-looking guy with a truck that looked like this. It was a Ford F-250 4x4 from the early 80s. The guy yells, "Be down in 20 minutes. Y'all just sit tight." You should have seen us all. We were all just absolutely covered in mud. But I wanted to make sure this guy could find us. So I said, "Hey, I'll climb up and sit in the back of your truck and show you how to get here. You don't even know how much of a help that'd be if you could help pull me out." He said, "No need. I know how to get to y'all. I go mudding down there all the time. I'll come get you out. Don't worry about it." And then he drove away. We were totally skeptical that this guy would show up. So we went back to cranking and ATV driving and digging and doing all of our crazy stuff trying to get it back out. 20 minutes go by, the guy still doesn't arrive. We're sure he's not coming. It's now fully dark out. Then all of a sudden, we see, coming down the path, some headlights. I mean, we're in this creepy forest. It's now dark. We don't know what's going on. It kind of spooked us in the beginning. But sure enough, it was the guy that we saw up on the bridge. When he pulled up, we could really see how old his vehicle was. But I was thinking to myself, there is no way that this truck is going to be able to pull my Jeep out. This thing's 30 years old, 20 years old. But what else are we going to do? It's dark out. We have Jeep stuck in the thing. I mean, we were just out of options, and this guy came to help, and we were just so happy for it. So we hooked his truck up to the back of mine, and we had all the cranks fully tightened at the same time. I'm sitting in the driver's seat of the Jeep. I put it full in on reverse. His truck is pulling and sliding around on the mud, going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, it starts to budge. And it was like as soon as the Jeep moved just an inch, it just had to get shook from its mud, and it was free. It came out so fast, and we're like, woo! Hooray! Truck is out of the mud. My baby is free. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Oh. We were very happy. All in all, it was around 7 p.m. by the time we finally got that Jeep out. We thanked the guy and tried to give him some money, but he wouldn't take it. All he wanted to do was help. This guy was awesome. The next morning when we looked at the newspaper, this picture was in it. At some point in the night, Irving opened up the floodgates, and the Trinity River had one of the worst floods they've ever had. If that guy had not shown up when he did, my favorite possession, my baby, my Jeep, my one solution to finally getting a girlfriend, would have been washed away, never to be seen again. To the guy who saved my car, thank you so much. My dad, on the other hand, was not too happy with me. He said if he ever caught me off-roading again, he was going to sell my Jeep, and this is the car he was going to buy me. So that was the end of my off-roading days as a teenager. Anyhow, I hope you guys liked this little story. Back to the vlog.
我吃的花椰菜牛排，但是我没吃饱了。
所以我吃这个 almonds。Snack time。在我的朋友的家玩游戏。
Yeah, try to open the door.
Alright, so you try to open the door, the door's still locked.
Oh, look at these!
9.
Alright. You guys both got 8. Oh,
I'm gonna get the food cheapest.
Would have been nice if we sold the